for all the subject here. Enter. It won't do it because here I am not given the privileges to create the view here. I forgot to give that. You know that this one, how to given permission to make use of in the view concept here, right? And yeah, next, this is very important. Fourth one, calculate the final IA, average of best 2 test marks, and update the corresponding table for all the students here. So in this case, you can see when I use the select star from, what will happen? You can see here in the IA marks, we'll have the USN, subject code, SSID, test 1, test 2, test 3. Final IA is not yet updated here. Here in this case, what we have to do is that we have to take down the average of best 2's test, and we need to fill into the final IA. To perform that, what we are doing here, so to perform that, you can see we are creating one procedure here. That is what this here, how we are going to create this procedure. So here in this case, how to create the procedure here, we are creating the procedure and we are keeping the procedure in the server here. Whenever if you want to make use of this, you can call that procedure and you can execute here. That means instead of performing or executing the query each and every time, you can create one procedure. In the sense, you can create one of the function which will be stored in the DBMS server, and whenever if you want to call that, whenever if you want to execute those information, those functions, you just call that function name, then that will be automatically get executed here. So here in this case, you can see how this has to be prepared here. So here we are creating, here we are creating, create or replace the procedure average. This is what exactly, this is what the average, that means the name of the procedure here. What is that the name of the procedure? The procedure name will be average marks. Is next, cursor C underscore IA marks is, that means when you create the procedure, so the cursor will be placed where actually the cursor will be placed in, the first, that is cursor here, that is what it is saying. So cursor C underscore IM marks is select the greatest of test 1 and test 2 as A. That means among this, what will happen actually, so the among this test 1 and test 2, you select the test 1 and test 2. So among this, which is the greatest number, the greatest will be 16, and that values will be stored where actually, that values will be stored in A variable. Are you following, all of you? Are you following?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So select greatest test 1 come test 2 as A. That means among the test 1 and test 2, which is the greatest number, that number will be stored in the which variable will be stored in A here. In the same manner, select the greatest of test 1 and comma test 3 and store it in B variable, and greatest test 3 comma test 2 and store it in C variable. From where actually you are selecting? So you are selecting from which particular the table? You are selecting from the IA marks. That is what, from IA marks, where final IA is null. So initially what exactly? Here the final IA is null. From this actually, now the cursor will be placed here, and for in order to fill the field information in this particular the field, so first we need to find out the greatest. So among the combinations of all these three tests, greatest of test 1, test 2, test 2, test 3 and test 3 and test 4 here. Among all these things, which one the final IA, whatever we are going to calculate, that will be stored in that particular the field here, where final IA is null. That means here initially the final IA will be null here. For update, so that means when the cursor is placed in the first row, we need to update after finding and the greatest of these two tests. After finding the greatest and taking the best average of the best 2 test marks, and we are going to finalize the what exactly we are going to final the IA marks. That IA marks will be stored in this particular the field here. To perform that, Initially, the final IA is null. Where the null is there, where null value is stored, in that case, we are going to update what exactly the greatest, the average of this. For update, C underscore A number, that is what the variable declaration, A, B, C. Here, what we have mentioned here, the A. So that will be the declaration has to be done like this. C underscore A, that is cursor underscore A, cursor underscore B, cursor underscore C. And we need to find out the sum of the sum and also as well as the average here. Okay, best of two. Begin. So then begin. You are going to begin that particular the IMAX. Then open C underscore IMAX. Then means what here? You open the cursor which are stored in this particular table. That is what the C underscore IMAX here. Loop fetch C underscore IMAX. That means until and unless what exactly here, until and unless the first it will be find out the best of two, greatest of best of two test, and find out the average of the best two test, and it will be stored it in here. Until where actually the loop will be keep on running here until and unless you exit from the number of rows or the number of records which are stored in the IMAX here. To perform that, open C underscore IMAX loop, fetch C underscore IMAX into CACB. That means whatever you are fetching from this, that will be stored in these variables C underscore A, C underscore B, and C underscore C here. And exit when C underscore IMAX is not found. That means until where actually the first it will be stored in first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, and next here what it will be, if there is no sixth row is found, then it has to be exit from that particular the loop here. That is what it is saying here. If C underscore A is not equal to C underscore B, that means whatever, if the value which are stored here, A value will be stored under C underscore A, B variable value will be stored under C underscore B. If both are not equal, then we need to find out the sum of these two. Or else we need to find the what exactly the first comparison of finding the best of two test here. A with B, find if it is both are not equal, then find out the sum of these two. Otherwise what will be actually, otherwise it has to be compared with what exactly A with along with the C here. If else, that is what else here, if C underscore A is not equal to here, the C underscore A is not equal to C underscore B, then sum is equal to CA plus CB, else sum is equal to CA plus CC, and then you find out the end if here. Then after finding that, after finding the sum, we are going to find out the average. Average means either you can get the value from this. So average here best of two. So the CA will be the first one test and CB underscore will be the second test here. So that here in this case, based on that you are going to find out the average. Average will be C underscore sum divided by 2 here. Then after finding this, we need to update the IA marks set final IA is equal to C underscore. That means after finding the greatest number of these two, then finding the best of two tests, and finding after best of two tests, we are going to calculate the final IA average. That final IA average has to be get updated in each row of the IA marks here. To perform that, update IA marks set final IA is equal to C underscore average. Whatever you are going to get for the C underscore average value, that will be keep on updating for each and every the record of the IA marks here. Where current of C underscore IA marks, that means the cursor will be placed where actually the first it will be placed in the first row, that will get updated. Next it will move to the next row, second row will get updated. Next it will move to third row, like that here it keep on updating for all the things. Until where actually, until it comes out of the loop here, end the loop. Then after ending the loop, you have to close the cursor from the IA marks, then end the function here. And each and every the procedure has to be ended by using what exactly, by using the backslash here. So this is how the procedure has been created here.